morning. Happy Monday to you all. How's your Monday treating you? Indeed. How has everyone's weekend been? Thank you. Well, hello to you too. I think each of y'all is a maker, if y'all are here. Well, it's actually not a new place per se. It's just I haven't been streaming a lot from Bangalore. So now I am, and I've been trying to figure out the correct configuration for me. So this is like, I don't know, my fifth attempt at getting it right. Well, let's see. It is new in the sense I moved here a bunch of months ago. It's gonna be a year soon actually, but I haven't streamed from here a lot. So, what's Postman swag? Oh, I'm wearing my MLH t-shirt, folks. I'm not supposed to wear Postman swag on the streams. Yep, that's my coach's tea. I know, right? I miss my old setup too. Hopefully, we'll have something almost similar very soon. Yash and Ashish, I think there's some people I can totally imagine getting this t-shirt in the near future. I wish I could answer this question, Mr. Closov. The thing is, APAC shipping is usually a little more tedious because we're still experimenting with printing things in India versus shipping them to India versus the quality, cost, and everything. So I can't even tell which batch your stickers are in. So, but you can always ask the question on Discord, and someone will get back to you. Oh no, you don't need to complete all the challenges. All the challenges are optional, but the more you complete, the more points you get, and the more points you get, the more swag you get. On the way, indeed. Oh, thank you, Yash. Yash is, so, folks, if you have questions and I'm not able to answer, I'm sure the hackers in the chat will. Yash and Ashish are some of the folks who are always up to date with things. Indeed. And the thing is, we're also experimenting. So it's like we don't even know which batch your, sticker ID is in. So it takes a little while to even answer the questions, right? But hey, y'all are awesome. Y'all are participating. I'll tell you what happened to me in COVID, right? So when I was hacking with MLH, I was hacking almost every weekend, right? And I wasn't getting my stickers and swag either. But there was a point after which I started getting my stickers and swag, and because I'd been participating every weekend, I used to get a FedEx delivery every week. But it was a good 7-8 months after. Now it's not that bad anymore. So you'll get it sooner than 7-8 months. But this was during peak COVID, so it obviously took a lot more time. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. In case you ever meet me at the hackathon, Reese Mustang, definitely get your stickers from me. I know, right? Same. So, like, I was used to it. I was like, okay, cool. If I'm participating today, next year is when I'll get rewarded, which was great. The funny part is I've never gotten any GHW swag. So if you ever meet me at a hackathon, get me some GHW swag. I'll exchange normal swag with you. Hi there. Welcome to the stream, Michael. That's smart. I wish they'd done that with me. Because there was a point where the FedEx guy was like, do you have a subscription? Alright, folks. So today's stream is going to be extremely chill. I'm actually going to introduce you to a bunch of softwares. If you all were there in the previous stream, you already should have it. If not, it's fine. You can take the time to download. I'm going to give you all ample time to just play around with it before we do the project we're going to be doing today. Today's project is very cool, actually. So remember how I said we'll do a word cloud in the next stream. I actually, while I was looking for some really cool APIs for us to try out in today's stream, I found a really cool word cloud API, and I found a really cool website with like just a list of really weird and out there APIs. Okay, so I'm going to share that with you all, but in the second half, right? So the first half, it's going to be basically just around 30 to 40 minutes of you exploring things. So I'm just going to be here hanging out, playing around with the thing myself. And once you all are comfortable and you all have a good sense of the space, and you all have your downloads in place because they're fairly heavy files, um, uh, we'll do a quick project, and then if we have time, we might do a slightly more complex project. If not, we have another stream tomorrow. It's specific for AI. So I'm going to get some AI generation in the software we use today and an LLM based project. So two tiny projects. But today, mostly we're going to make some simple projects in the end. But before that, I just want you to play around and explore. So, oh, that's a great question, Michael. This is something I addressed in one of the streams earlier. So APIs have been in picture before web came into the being. So of course there are a lot more APIs apart from REST APIs. There are SOAP APIs, RTC based APIs. So we can do an in-depth discussion at some point. But hey, I've already spoken about these softwares before. Yash, remember last time I told you to download a bunch of things? Okay, let's see. That is so cool. Could be. Maybe I just find out when Yash is on his phone, or maybe every time he enters the stream, he announces that he's on his phone. Alright, folks, let's get started. So, I do not have any PPTs today, fortunately, and we won't be doing any analogies until the end where we create our own word cloud. So, I'm going to introduce you to a bunch of stuff, and then I'm going to go off screen. I'm going to be hanging around here, of course. I'm going to play some music, and you all are just supposed to sit, click around. A good 30 minutes of just playing around with algorithms. I, of course, introduced you to a bunch of examples so that you have something to do, of course. And once you all start posting pictures about what you all are doing, I will move on to actually doing the work now. Okay, so simple enough agenda for today. Let's get started. Let me show you the things I want you all to have, and I'll show you a couple of examples. Once I show you a couple of examples, I'll give you time to just explore. Cool. So I'm going to share my screen very quickly. Give me one second, folks. Before that, while you're here, please do register and check in. Okay, let me share screen, window. So if you're registered and check in, the more you register and check in, the more points you get, and they translate to swag whenever they do reach you. This is the link, folks. Let me send it here as well. Alright, so this is where you're going to register and check in. I'm already logged in. If you don't see a picture here, log in, and there you go. I'm registered and checked in. Perfect. While you click on join online, I'm going to take you to twitch.tv/MLH, as you can see over here. And so, first of all, what I want you to open is p5.js. Sorry, p5js.org. So, p5js. This is where I want you all to go, and I want you all to click on the P5 editor. Well, mine it's a tad bit slow today. There we go. I'm going to send this link to you all as well. So, there you go. Okay, moving on. So what I'm going to do here is just draw a bunch of random examples and show you all how simple it is to get started. And once we do that, I'm going to give you all around 20 minutes to, of course, do this, download processing, and play around with it. Okay? And just come up with some quirky stuff. And once you all do, I want you all to post it in Discord. Okay? So let's go. Have you all opened? If people are following around, can you all tell me? I'll wait for you all to be on the same page. Once you're on the editor, let me know. Quickly, just give me a heads up. I know, right? I've been having insane power cuts. That's the reason I had to cancel my stream yesterday. I had a power cut, and luckily Newfile stepped in and did a really cool job. But yeah, power cuts have been crazy, especially because it's summer here. Alright, folks, if you all are following along, let me know. I'm so sorry about that. Night is so much worse because. Alright, awesome. Yash is already there on the editor. We're waiting for other folks to come in. I like how we got distracted so much. Alright, folks, I'm waiting for a bunch of more acknowledgements before we continue. So once you all are here, let me know. No rush, of course. Alright, awesome. So I can see 2 people, 3 people acknowledging. So we'll start. We're going to first start with something very simple in which I'm going to show you all how to get your mouse to interact with you. Okay. So once we do that, I'm going to show you, you'll also see how we're drawing shapes in it. That's a simple way to go about it. I think that should be enough for you all to get started. I'll give you all around 10 minutes to play with it. Then I'll show you 2D interaction and so on and so forth, right? So we're going to do some pretty cool interactions and then we'll use an API in it. Okay? Cool. So let's go. Alright, so if you all were here before in the previous stream, you all know I explained this. E5.js is basically an abstracted version of JavaScript. So what they've done is they've already written a bunch of libraries which help you access a lot of features without putting in too much effort in setting up your own background. So what they've done is created a setup for you which runs once, right? The setup runs once when I hit play and when I hit run, and the function draw is basically a while one. It keeps running until you ask it not to, right? So this is what's happening. We have a setup which is run once, and then we have the function draw. Okay, which is saying just make a background of 220. If I change the color here, like you can see, if I make it 250, it's gonna get darker. Or not. 255, I believe, is white. So you can see 255 is white. And if I do 000, it should be black. There we go. Right? So, I'm a little confused about what's happening. Alright, I'm very confused about the chat, but I'm guessing y'all are. I'm so sad about the mobile web app. Try using a different browser, Yash. Long time, that's the problem. Cool. So it's basically drawing the background for us. Okay, so this is it. We're going to now work on this, right? So what we're going to do over here is first I'm going to expand the canvas a little bit, right? So I want the size to be a little bigger. I'm going to go for 720. And I think for the width we can stick to 400 or let's go to 500. Like, just make it that bit bigger, right? I think the gray was fine, but basically a slightly lighter background seems nice to add colors. I'm going to go for 200. I think I like this green. Awesome. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add some, we're going to use some functions that help us with establishing a bunch of strokes, a bunch of interactions, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first call a no stroke function in the setup. Did you see my screen? No stroke. Right. So what the no stroke function is basically doing is it's saying that once in the setup, there should be no stroke because eventually we're going to have a mouse interaction. Initially, we're calling that. Okay. And then what we're doing is we're going to add a rectangle. Right. So, and we're going to place it in the center. Okay. Oh, that's sad. Let me see if I can see if that's happening to me as well. Let me give me a second. I'm trying to. It's only on the phone, right? Your laptops are working fine, right? Because my computer is working fine. Okay, I can't even load the website on my phone, so I'm gonna adjust your word. Sure, let me zoom in a little bit. Is this better? Okay, cool. Right. So now we're gonna do the background. We already done the background. So let's move on to adding a bunch of things. So what I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna add a variable that maps my mouse functions. Right. So I'm gonna add a variable. Let's call it S1. Okay, is equal to. I'm gonna map it. So I'm gonna map. This is a simple map function, which is again very common in IDEs. When you have abstracted code, they make you definitely give you an example to map it quite quickly. Oh, it did. That's good. Alright, so let's map. So we're gonna do mouse X. Okay, we're gonna map that to the 0th point, right? So in a canvas, remember your 0th point is this 0, and this is our 500 point, and 720 is on that end. Okay, so let's continue. Mouse X gets mapped to 0, and width 0, height. Okay, so mouse X 0 width 0 height is our mapping. Okay, next I'm gonna map the. So I want to basically interact. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to create another variable which keeps deducting another variable from every time I move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an let S2 equal to height minus S1. Does this make sense? Every time I'm going to go and move, I'm going to go to my height and then remove where I am. Does that make sense, folks? Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to I want to add a motion, right? Because I'm finally interacting. So now that I have two positions of this, I'm basically going to add another variable and fill out a rectangle using these variables that I've made. Let me complete the code. It will make more sense once I complete the code. So what I'm doing is I'm first using S1 to map mouse X width and height, okay? And then I'm using S2 to basically, so let's say if I'm here, right? What I want to do is I'm going to take the entire height, right? My entire height is 720 and minus my position of S1. So let's say I'm here. What I'm taking is I'm taking height and minusing my position from here to give me the position S2. Does that make sense? It is actually like turtle, yes, but slightly more advanced than turtle because you can do a bunch of more things than turtle. Does that make sense, folks? Sure, Pranav, we're doing a very simple thing. We've just opened our editor and we want to get comfortable with this editor, right? So I am just showing a very simple interaction example, and then I'm going to give you all around 15 minutes to just use it. So in that, anyway, you can basically catch up. All right. So I'm going to first finish off this example so that you all can start using it. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the fill function because I want to fill that specific rectangle, right? So fill, right? I'm going to give a random position for it to start with. Okay. So I'm going to give it just random positions to start with, and I'm going to give it so random dimensions, and I'm going to give it the first variable to position it, right? So that is S1. Okay. And there we go. And now my rectangle itself, I'm gonna draw. So rectangle. Okay, so my width by 2, comma, height by 2. Now this is something you can completely change. I'm just trying to take a rectangle that is half the size of our height and width. You can of course play around with the numbers, which is what you're gonna get time to do, right? S1. I am trying to make a square, so I'm going to give it same number. So what you can also do is you can keep one number constant in the height and width that you're giving, and in that you can keep one constant. So your height will change and width won't, and so on and so forth. Correct, right? So because this is an abstracted library, a lot of things are inherited. Not just inherited, but rather they've made libraries and libraries on which you're basically playing around with. So a lot of functions for you are created default, right? Like for example, mouse X, if you already have an interaction set up with it, right? So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another rectangle because what I want to do is I want to show interaction, right? So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to move a rectangle. Let's first play this just this much and see what's happening, okay? I'm going to run. There. See what's happening? So if the mouse is not there, I do not have anything, which is what the no stroke is doing. But the moment my mouse is detected, it's detecting so when I'm here, 0. See, this is 0th point. There is no, uh, there's no stroke, right? The moment I'm increasing anything, so this entire is 0th width, right? So if this is 0, there's nothing increasing. And then this is your height. Now if I go down and do the same thing, see this? Right? So simple, right? It's insanely simple and it's amazing. So you see how the color is changing as well? And you see the range? So this 237 to 34 is basically the color range. I can also change that. Okay, so cool. Folks, you have one example to start with, right? This is a very simple example. And once you all are good with this example, we can go on to something new. So you can now play around with the variables, play around with the sequence of things, play around with, changing the constants. So over here, instead of filling it out with, S1, I can also, maybe make another one over here and have another rectangle move with the R2 variable, S2 variable rather, right? So S2, S2. So now we'll have two rectangles. See? Right. If the moment one rectangle is 0, the other one is big, getting big, right? So you can see there now we have two rectangles just crisscrossing each other. You can add a bunch of more. You can even change the rectangle mode here within the code and see what's happening. Yep, exactly. You can also try and use other things like circle. So let me just make one of them a circle. Right. So circle. And you can also add a circle mode here, right? So circle mode. I can say center again, right? Oh, I think it's circle mode. Oh my bad. think it's circle. There we go, right? So now you can see how it's switching between circle and rectangles, and you can tell when which functions kicking in, right? So cool. This is a simple example. What you all can do is now play around with this, and once you all are comfortable with it, we'll move on, right? So it is 12:07 on my clock. I'm going to give you 15ish minutes to, yeah, so play around with shapes, play around with colors, play around with sizes, play around with the canvas size, see when you're breaking code, right? So cool. I'm going to give you all around, how much time do you want? 15 minutes seems good to me. Also, what you can do is, over here, because we have centered it right in the middle, you can also play around with the point it's starting. So over here, if I add in plus S1, it will now move, I hate this one, with S1, height by 2, S1. Oh, okay, so there we go. So what now this will do is it will start from the left. So let's see. Now it's moving from the center to the right because we're starting it from width by 2. If I do minus S1, never mind, I'm not doing that because it's going to make me change the entire thing. But basically, if I do that, it's going to start from the left. So fill is basically the colors over here. I'm sure you can, but what you'll have to do for that is you'll have to get 2 circles in a triangle and you'll have to position from the right same point. Cool. Folks, go for the experimentation. I'm going to hang around here. I'll be in the background looking at your comments and questions. But yeah. What do you mean by SVGs, Yash? Do you mean, can you add SVG images? Yes, you can add SVG images. So you're saying instead of shapes, you want to move images? Sure, you can do that. You can absolutely do that. Okay, cool. So I am just going to hang around in the background. You all have around 15 minutes. It's 12:10 on my clock. So 12:25, 12:30, I'll give you to play around with it. Sure, I'll play some music. And it'll be a very cool stream. If you all want to share your images while you're working on Discord, I'm happy. You all can join our voice channel on Discord. I just changed there and we can all see everyone working. So if you all are doing that, let me know. I'm happy to just go on Discord, share the screen there, and we just work together there. Okay, cool. Let's move on to giving you some time. So I'm gonna stop, get myself off the stage. Yes, thank you so much, Pranav, for the reference sheet. You can also go through other shapes and sizes that you can play with. Alright, let me play some music for you all. I 100% support this. You can make a musical visualizer very easily with this method. So we're gonna basically add a word cloud in this, but I first want to get comfortable with this. So after this, you can actually play it into a lot of different here, like randomly add images and just colors and anything you want to do. So once you get comfortable with this, we'll add a word cloud. just put your, can you all tag me there so I can share it on. Hey folks, am I audible now? If you all are sharing your creation on Discord, can you all tag me where you all are doing it so I can share it on the screen? Oh, found it, thank you. Alright folks, how's it going? Are we good to go or are you all still experimenting? Oh yeah, I would love to share your code. Have you all put it in Discord? I am happy to share your code. Let's see all the amazing things you all have created. Alright, you all have shared your code directly. Let me put it in my editor and share it. I'm actually gonna pull Discord onto this screen and then use the same editor here to replace my code with yours. So I will be sharing. Oh, I'm sorry, Ash has to leave. This is awesome, Ashish. I like how you created a manual visualizer, music visualizer using yourself. And let's see. We're taking Yash's code first. And me. Oh wow, that is amazing, Yash. Great job. Let's see what has he done. Why did you use oh, you've got a heart. I don't see that happening. I don't know why you've used a mouse pressed here. You don't need a mouse pressed, I believe. Oh wow, the slips also. I like how we've gotten a 3D effect happening here thanks to the axes. But, okay, what have you done? S1, S2. I don't see the heartbeat happening here, though. I don't see the color change. Alright, wow. Great job. So you basically need to move the circles in the same direction and the triangle in the other. Oh, you made a bezier. Okay, got it. Nice. Great job. Oh, you had a draw heart function already. Fair enough. Great job, folks. Let's see who else has posted their code. Okay, let's see what you've made. Oh, wow. Did you pick up an example, Mr. Kluzops? But great job. I love it. This is great. Great job. This is so addictive, right? Like just playing around with this. But cool. Great job, folks. So I'm gonna see if is there anyone else who's still sharing their code? Someone shared the code. Ashish shared their code. Okay, let's put Ashish's code here. Hit. Oh, you do the same thing. Nice. And your pulse thing is working. Your heartbeat thing is working. And I like how it's a fade in. Great job. You all did an amazing job. That's fine. You still did something, right? You created and you understand how the code works. That was the point of the exercise in the first place. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use a very classic example in p5.js to see how an API call is made. And then I'll give you some time to get your own images and understand how buttons work in p5.js. Again, the same drill. I'll give you all 15 minutes on the clock to play around with it and then we'll make a word cloud. Okay? Alright, let's go. So I'm going to go back to the editor. Again, beautiful job. I would love to see your final, even Mr. Klusov, feel free to record a GIF and put it on Discord or Twitter. I do have today in GHW today, so I would love to show your codes and images of. Alright, let's go. So we're going to start with a simple API, right? So you're going to be using this API, the cat API, because that's one of the most famous examples and the classic examples of creating API calls with p5.js. So if you ever look up, you'll always see people creating random API calls to cat images. So yes, we're going to be calling some cat images, right? So let's start by getting our API here. So I'm just going to cool. So let's start. So what I've done is I've cleared the sketch. Ideally, you don't want to do that. You can fit it in setup and draw. But since we're using an API call and we're going to be using a lot of classic JavaScript, you can get rid of your functions. If you don't want to, what you can do is you can put them in the function draw and end it, like make the loop 0. Okay, cool. Let's get started. So first I'm going to make our constant API cat is equal to this link. So I'm going to give you all the link for the API. And it's amazing. You all can test this API out in your browser first. So, oh, sure, you can definitely do Rickroll using p5.js, because once you know how an API call is made, you all can just do that. Like, it's so simple. You can just keep changing the API and it'll still work, right? So, I can see people loving JS. That's great. Cool. So I'm going to show you the API here very quickly. So this is the API that we're going to be using, the cat API. So you can see it's called the cat API. So if you look up the cat API, this is one of the first APIs that pops up. This is what we're using, right? And so if I put this, right, enter, you've gotten an API, and it's always going to give you a random image, not the same image. So this changed, the image changed. I enter again, different image, and it's giving pretty cat images to us, right? So this is what we're going to be using every time you make a call to this API. It gives you a new image here with one single JSON, right? And that's exactly what we want. The only thing I want to change is the size of this, which we'll do later, right? So let's read our guides. We'll read this later. Okay. That's right. We just go back to our editor and continue this, right? So I'm going to use the API here. So I'm going to take this API, copy, and paste it in, right? So, right. Once you all have your APIs. Oh, thank you so much. I completely forgot to put it here. My bad, folks. This is the exact thing that you all can put in your codes. Okay. So, great. Right. What we're going to do next is we have to basically my bad. Right, I'm just gonna make this small. Sorry, more code here. There we go. Right. So what we're gonna do next is we're basically gonna add a button, right? So how do you add a button in your normal classic HTML or JavaScript? Is you have a document and you get a .query selector, right? So we're gonna do the same thing here. Okay. Okay, I do not want a language war starting in this chat right now. Okay. But cool. So we're gonna have a document. Do you know we have a Python club run by Yash here that you all can join? Its ambassador, I believe, is a pizza slice. So I'm adding a button, right? And you can always open the guide and see what else you can add. Maybe you can add a slider too and get more images at one time, right? And this is what I'm going. And now I'm going to add an event listener, right? So that event listener. What do I want to listen to? Because it's a button, we're going to listen to a click, right? So when we listen to click, what do we want it to do? We want it to act. I don't know why is it doing this. I want to figure this later. Okay. So basically, what I want to do here is I'm going to add a underscore. This is just syntax. Okay. So we're going to ask this, and we're going to add up so much. The syntax. Well, welcome Tanmay. Welcome back to the stream. We're trying to get an API call made into processing, and I don't know, somehow my syntax is screwing up. So let's see. I'm gonna close this for starters and move on, and hopefully this will figure itself out. There we go. Perfect. No, there we go. Alright. This was unnecessarily complicated. But cool, let's move on. This is a simple document by query selector syntax. If you all want, I'm going to put this in the chat. Yep, I missed the comma. Thank you so much for trying to help me. This is the syntax in case you all are having trouble seeing on the screen. So there you go. Perfect. Let's move on. Right. So once we've added the button, what we want to do is we want to now make a call to the API, right? Yep, perfect. I think Yash or Ashish, people from the club, will be more than happy to help you. I like Tanmay's reference to transistors. I agree. I like controlling everything with transistors instead of. Thank you, Ashish, for sharing the Python. Okay, so now what we want to do is we've added the get data function. We now have to define the get data function, right? The actual API fetching. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by defining get data, right? So what does our function have to do? We're going to first have a response, which we're going to wait for it to, get populated. Then we're going to, populate our JSON with that data. And then we're going to have to display it. So for displaying it, we're going to use our normal height and width functions and write that into it. Okay? I like how you all are on a different conversation altogether, but that's fine. Okay. You all can continue having fun. So we're going to do an async function, right? So can anyone tell me the difference between when would I use an await and async function and when would I not? Why do I need to use an async function here? Right? So what I'm doing is I'm creating the response variable where I'm going to wait for the fetch function to get the API, right? So what I've defined earlier is the API get. So I'm going to wait for await, right? Fetch is a function which is going to make the API call, right? And what's the name of our API? It's API get, right? There you go. Okay, so exactly, right? So what happens in async and await is, and the rest of the function actually continues, like the rest of the thing, but only that specific thread. So let's say you have multiple things happening in your code, right? So when you have a bunch of buttons on your screen, when you click a certain button, it's gonna wait before, let's say, goes back to not highlighting. Only that specific function does. If you don't do that, it's still gonna work. The rest of the program is still gonna run. Right? So that's the difference between not using async and await and using async and await. There are a bunch of really cool videos that I came across recently that explain it really well. Let me know if you want them. I'm happy to share them with you all. One of them really explained it really well using a slider function. So, nice name, folks. See, the thing is, if you start with CPP and C, it's the other languages are usually slightly. So the thing is, C and CPP are vast, right? I feel because we've been used for so long. So I guess the other languages after that feel easy, especially if you've used pointers at length. I will share the videos definitely. Right? What we're going to do next is we're going to convert our response into JSON. So we're going to do const data is equal to response.json. And again, we're going to wait for it to get converted into JSON. And that's it. Alright? I think this is a function, so let's do that. Cool. So we've done most of the difficult work of this, getting this, but I think I'm missing a little bit of syntax. I'll fix that later. Alright, cool. So let's continue. And what we're going to do next is we're going to have to draw the data, right? So we're now doing if. That means we're going to first check if there's any data, right? So data 0 dot width. That means if there's any image, right? Because we're going to get pixels finally back and we're drawing them. Is greater than equal to 600. How do I know this? Because I know that because I'm asking for a full size of image, I know the image that I'm getting. So if you read the guides, you'll know the full size image is 600, right? So good. And we're also going to check the height. So and right, height. Sorry, data 0 dot height is greater than equal to 600 again. What do we want to do? We want to draw it, right? Oh, okay. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna draw it, right? So we want to go open new curly bracket. So that looks very cool. That seems like a very cool area. Do reach out to me on Discord later. I would love to help you. I don't think so. I guess that's what the underscore is for. It's fine. We'll figure. I'm not worried about this. I'll figure. We'll figure once we go, right? So if data is greater than 600, height is greater than 600, what we want is document again. Document. Right? We're going to use the same function of get element ID, right? That you use in your get element ID. What do we want? We want the image, right? So we got my image. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to now put the URL, right? So src is equal to data. And now we're going to use the URL, right? So the 0th array and the URL that we want to display, right? So there we go. And that's it, right? And what do we want to do here? If this is not true, we want to continue getting data, right? So else get data. Simple enough. Simple code, right? That's it. And what we've done is we have to call it separately once to kind of declare it, right? So I'm just going to quickly once declare it in the end. So get data. Now let's see if this works. I have a feeling this is going to throw an error in our face, but we're going to fix it later. Only on the top is what is it? Weird. Let's see why we're getting this error. This is sad. Yeah, that's my next thing, but it should work ideally because we have done it. Well, I guess this was the, you need to add a space here apparently. So this should, mm, and delete. Mm, thank you so much. This is so stupid. I don't know why it's doing this weird thing. What's wrong now? I don't think that's the problem. I figured that there was a spelling mistake. Thank you so much for letting me know. Weird. Let's look this error up. I'm just trying to look this error up in ChatGPT and seeing if it can fix this for us. Try planning. That's a good idea. But I know I've worked with this code before. I'm just trying to see if what ChatGPT gives me back. I'm just going to do this. If it can fix this for us. If I think there's a syntax error, honestly. Hmm. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna open a new. And see if this works. Same thing. Let's see if this works. No. Says 7,000. No value. Weird. Okay, let's remove the button altogether for the time being. Right? The point is we are making an API call. If the API call works, we're good. So let's see if this works. I think this is the problem here. Weird. We got the data, we want the image SRC. Basically, we're adding the image tag to and then attaching the data 0.url to it, which is the response image. So basically, we're trying to attach this .url and we're getting my image. No, I know that is there, but since we're using a fetch call, we can make button over here. I think there's a certain way you need to load. The thing is, I did this in processing. So processing is a local program in which you can change modes, but that's fine. Let's see. I'm gonna figure this out. Oh, this should at least. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this also. This is fine if data response.json async await. I mean, we remove async await worst case, but I think I'm gonna do this and put this up. Get data async response.src. I still don't see where we're going wrong. Document not get element variety. This is so weird. This should have worked. I'm making some stupid mistake or somewhere. This is sad. I will check this. Whatever I can check element. Let me see. You talk about this, right? p5.element. Let's see. No, but this is the element that you're using in p5.js. I don't think this is the same thing. Reference, foundation, landing, topography. I think this is where we're going wrong because the JSON is pointing to null, right? So I think this is where we should be able to fix the problem. JSON string. But we want it to be a JSON because that's what we're calling it here, right? We're calling data 0 response.json. Okay, give me 10 minutes to fix this. I'm gonna see what's going wrong. Let me see if I can get AI to fix this. Copilot, Bing. Fix this code. See, but the problem is not with the button, right? That's why I removed the button altogether. The problem is it's saying that the JSON is empty. Now, of course, initially the JSON is going to be empty, right? It won't display it initially, even though... Sure, I can share the error message. Give me 1 second. Oh, wow. It's added a button. That's fine. Basically the same. Oh, it's doing in a way to get data here. That makes sense. Ah, see, that makes sense. But we're doing in a way here. I don't get it. Well, let's see. Let's give this a shot. I have a feeling just the syntax itself is going to cause an error. But... So this is the error that I'm getting. 1. This is the first error that I'm getting. And the second error that I'm getting when I remove the button altogether. But you know what? I'm going to take your advice and just create a button. But we can't attach I think an async function to a button is the problem here. Regardless, okay, give me 5 minutes. Let's take a break anyway. It's been an hour and a half. Let's take a quick 5-minute break. I'm going to try and fix this. Bye, Ashish. We're going to fix this and let you know. Okay, I would love to see your cat images, everyone's cat images. Doctor's not supposed to be in a fan. See, that's the thing. This is the reason why we're doing it in p5.js, because once you do this, you can then add p5.js functions to call it. And I know it works because I've done it, right? I do have a running version of this code on my local system. So if not, I'm going to give you all that specific code that does run. And if it doesn't still run, then we'll have to fix if the, because the version change is that why it's not working, right? So give me 5-ish minutes. It's 1:34 on my clock. We'll be back around 1:40 and fix this. Okay, else I have a bunch of other examples. They're a tad bit more complicated because they're dealing with like social media APIs, but we'll use them. Okay, so let's take a 5-minute breather and we'll be back. Alright, great. I did upload my file from processing to p5.js and it works. So I'm going to share that copy with you all. The weird part is if I copy paste it into another thing, it doesn't work. So this worked for you. That's great. Let me try that as well. I can't copy it from here, so I'm just going to go and open. So I'm going to go to Discord. Oh, even Nami tried something and it worked for him, so I'm going to try that first because it's in Discord. Oh, great. Let's go here. Okay, so what have you done? You created a button, you created an image, you created a mouse press thing. Great job. You created get data. You used await async. Great job. And you used the rest of it was the same. Great. So you just created the mouse press button. Okay, great. Alright, cool. Y'all fixed it. So the thing is, the reason I want y'all to use get element is once you can use that, you can build more complicated functions. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Cruz. I'll post it in Discord, so I will paste that code and go through that again. This is great. This is great. So basically, this function was fine. Oh, sad. And you're doing a mouse press to get data. That's fair. The thing is, the element ID is slightly. It gives you more control over a lot of things. So I would. Oh, perfect. Great job. Cool. So if it's the same, got it. Great job. So you all created the button instead of using the document element ID button, which is cool. Alright, great. So you all fixed the problem as hell. Awesome. So congratulations on making your first API call with p5.js. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to share the code that does work because it should work. I don't know why it isn't. I think it's a setting problem because I've made it in processing and then I'm uploading it to p5.js. It makes more sense. But I'm making an API copy for y'all and I'm just sharing the code so that you all know how it works. API p5.js demo code. I'm going to just hit it once. It does work. So just to make sure it's working, it does work. And I'm just going to make a couple of changes here. I'm just going to make a bunch of changes here so that you all can. Let's see. Cool. I'm sharing this with you all. This is a sketch of it, so it should work fine. And y'all can tell me what can be different, of course. But until then, tell me if y'all can see the sketch or you can open the sketch, okay? You're correct. You're right about that, which is why I was trying to see in the settings if I can somehow add. You remember when I was playing around here and seeing if I can add a button here somewhere? That's exactly what I was trying to see. So that's the thing about converting it from. Processing to p5.js, but it's fine. The one that I've sent you, this sketch should work ideally. Let me know if it doesn't, and then we'll fix it later. So that's what I'm telling you. It does work, but I uploaded it from processing to p5.js. But it's fine. It's fine. Y'all figured a better way to do it, a much simpler and a cleaner way to do it. So I'm very happy about that. Cool. So I think I'm gonna give you all 10 more minutes to play around with this, and then we'll do a weather API quickly. And word cloud might not be possible today, so we'll continue that tomorrow. If not, I will share the resources today or tomorrow, depending on when we do it. But yeah, should be fine. And I would love to see what y'all make with the APIs. Y'all can also get dog images. Y'all can, play around with it. P5.js is anyway very cool. You can add shapes to it. You can have shapes, circling your images and whatnot, right? So y'all can also get the images to move around and animate the size of the images. The same thing applies, but instead of so the data 0.url, this is what you will be changing the size of. So it's fairly simple, right? But yeah, cool. Yep, sounds great. I'm glad it worked for you all. I mean, you all fixed the problem yourself. So very proud of each one of you here trying to help each other. So great job. Let's take 5-10 minutes and then we'll do a quick feather API. The reason why I want to do just once feather API is I want to show you how to use an API key. This is an open one, so you don't need auth. Well, we'll just look at API key once and then you all can just play around with it. So it's 1:18 in my clock. Let's be back around 1:30. And then I'll just share a sketch with you. You all just need to get your weather APIs in it and run it, right? So it should be fairly short and simple because once you all understand the fetch and async was what was important for us to understand, and we do. I think it's been a good 1.5 hours since the stream started. Yep. And we'll just run another 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to give you all first 10 minutes to play around with this, see if you want to draw, and then we'll do a quick weather API and close it. Cool. Alright folks, the time is yours. I'll be back in, well, maybe not the entire 10 minutes, before that only, but you all can play around with it until then. And if you all are trying to follow and couldn't get the code to run, you all can use the code in Discord to follow. So the code that they have uploaded is right here. This is Nabi, the one that needs updated. Okay? And you all can put your codes and pictures over here of what you all are making. Okay? Awesome. So you have another 5-10 minutes to play with this. Alright folks, how's it going? Did you all try something new with this? Did you play around with this? Oh, that's so cool. This means you all can get started with p5.js, and you all know how p5.js is very simple. Cool. So very simple sketch. I'm already going to share it in the chat so that you all can just open the sketch and just make a duplicate copy and play around with it. Basically what you need to do, I'm going to open it here as well, right? API that for 2024. Okay, so I'm just gonna hit save. And I'm gonna go here, press speed. Okay, so this is what we're going to be running. Okay. Cool. So I want you to go to the sketch. It's very simple. While you go to the sketch, I'm just going to remove all of this. Clean it up a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to go to open weather API. Okay. So you're going to go to this one, and what you need to do is you want to generate a new. You need to log in, and create a new API key. So when you go to API key, you should be able to see this, right? So I can deactivate some of them. So let's see, I'm going to pick this up. I just created this and put it here. And that's simple it is, right? So I'm going to quickly explain to you the code, what's happening here. So we have a function Kelvin to Fahrenheit because we're getting the temperature in Kelvin. We're creating a weather data variable. We're getting a function called getWeather, and we're specifying the parameters latitude and longitude, and we're passing the latitude and longitude in the URL. So the URL is the nether variable that is going to make the API call. So that's our API endpoint, along with things that we need to add. So this is the whole point of this exercise: is what do we need to send data in the endpoint, right? So we're adding the latitude, the longitude, and then we're adding our key in the end to authenticate it. Okay. So once you do that, you should have a fetch URL. Right, we're doing the same thing now. We're basically sending it to the endpoint and waiting for data. We're then getting the response and we're converting the response into a JSON. And then we're taking the data and we're putting it into the weather data that we initialized earlier, rather declared earlier. And then we're logging the weather data. Then we have our usual setup and draw function in which we're calling it all over again. And so let me show you where we're passing latitude and longitude. We're passing it in setup, which is why it's not a dynamic thing. So if you want it to be a dynamic thing, you can pass it here and take inputs here, right? Like we did for the button image, button and the cat image. Okay, so it's a very simple thing. We're filling up the entire background black. We're specifying the text size. We can change the text size to 30. This is simple stuff. And what we're doing is then we're calling the Kelvin to Fahrenheit function and just dumping the entire thing onto the screen. Make sense, folks? Simple, very simple code. The only thing you need to focus on here is the latitude, longitude, and the API key and how you're adding it. Right now, the thing is, these API keys take around 3 to 4 minutes to get activated. So the moment you generate one, it will take around 5 minutes to get activated. Okay. In case it takes time, you all can use my API key for the time being. I will deactivate it later today though. Okay, so you all are welcome to use this, and the one that I've shared for you, it must have saved it there. So it's saved 35 seconds ago, which means my API key should be added to your codes. But you can replace your own keys whenever you all are up for it. Okay? Cool, folks. You learned how to use APIs in p5.js, which is a very artistic tool. And I promised I was going to show you some resources, right? So there's something called dev resources. So dev resource.s. Probably spelled it wrong. Yep. There we go. So this is a really cool website. Let me post this in here. Cool. So this is basically got an insane amount of APIs for you to just start using, and the best part is they're very simple APIs. So you can just use it in p5.js for starting, because you can see how simple it is. See, some of you were talking about making a audio visualizer. You can start taking Soundstripe and getting its APIs in p5.js, right? So you can also use Spotify. We did a stream on Spotify, I think last month or the month before, to visualize the data. So you can use that into your p5.js as well. Okay, so there's a ton of, so everything has so many APIs, and I think it has 250 plus APIs that you all can go through. So yeah, have fun with the APIs on this page, and the word cloud thing that I was going to show you is on this itself. So if you go to design, I think. Where did I find the word cloud API is in here somewhere. It was very interesting. So yeah, there's some art, and the word cloud should be here somewhere. Let me see if I can find where I have found the word cloud. I can't find it on this website. I did find it on this website in the first place, but I can't remember where. So I'm going to send you all the page for it. I think I used a different URL to access it. Regardless, you can use this. This is the word cloud one, and you can create some really cool word clouds by just making a quick API call. But yeah, cool. So that's it, folks, for today. Make sure that you use the weather API one very quickly. Thank you for sharing my API key in the chat, Navneet. But I'll be deactivating that key soon, folks. So make sure that you create your own. And yeah, thank you so much for joining. We have another LLM based stream tomorrow. I'm gonna fix that cat API thing today. It should work. I don't know why it's being so weird. But yeah, if you all have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Discord or on the API channel. I would love to see your creations. Definitely post about them. I have today in GHW. In GHW tonight. So I will definitely be showing your code and art pieces off there. So definitely put them on Discord. I'll be taking it from there. Okay. All right. Bye, folks. I will see you all tomorrow. Actually, tonight.